Hi everyone, my name is Vincent Go and welcome to this new Substance Designer 5 tutorial. Today we are going to speak again about the pixel processor node, but this may be the easiest way to understand how it works because it's a tutorial you will see which is really easy and the result is quite interesting. Actually what we are going to do is what I've called a UV undistorted node, which actually is a node that will undistort the result of the texture. So I will show to explain you. So for example, imagine you have a texture like this, which is a perfect checker, but I have a model like this one which has really bad UVs, as you can see here. So you can admire my UV skills, which are incredible. But so if I check, obviously you obtain something which is completely messy. Of course, that's not what you want. So imagine that you want to undistort these UVs. Well, that's what we're going to do today. So basically, we are going to build this pixel processor node, and that gives you this result. So basically it compensates the distortion of the UVs inside the texture itself. So let's start. So first I'm going to create a new graph that I'm going to call UV undistorted tutorial, and I'm going to put it as empty. It will be fine. I'm just going to add an output node, an output right now. Okay, which will be a diffuse. Diffuse, just to make sure. I'm going to check my material right now. I'm going to put a Lambert one, and I'm going to say view output into the view. Of course, we have nothing, so we cannot see anything. Just a note, as you can see, I've switched to 5.1, so you may see some cool feature. For example, right now you can click directly here to get some nodes, the atomic nodes, and you have this, which is extremely useful. The spacebar right now gives you access to all the full library. So that's why you don't see the library anymore, because it saves me a lot of space, and personally I like that a lot. So what to do first? First, actually, we need to bake a map, which is the position map. You will understand why. So the position map, basically it looks at your object in the 3D world, and it bakes the 3D coordinates in 3 colors, so you can do all the axes or one axis. So for example, if you want the height of an object, you will use the y-axis, so you will have the vertical height. But in our case, what we want is to do all the axes. So I will use a good resolution. I check, and I think everything is fine. UV 0, so which are our bad UVs, and dilatation is fine. You can apply the diffusion. It's not. You can do it. It's okay. It could avoid some artifacts. So let's do it. Okay. So right now we have our map here, and how do we use it? Actually, what is interesting here is that I'm going to remove the UVs right now. It actually stores the X, Y, and Z info. So if I look at the axis here, do I see it? View, display axis. I will do F. For some reason we don't see it. I will tell to the team. But basically, you have the X-axis, which shows, if I'm not wrong, you have X like that or like that, Y, which is the vertical one, and Z, which is like that. I think I cannot guess as is, but you will understand. Anyway, so I take this map, and actually in our case, as you can see, my plane is flat, is really aligned horizontally. So what I need is to take in account that these two axes, which are actually the U and V axis. So So what I'm going to use is a split, a split, RGBA split like that. So I'm going to plug this, and what I'm interested in, if I'm not wrong, is the R and G. Let's see that. Actually, it's easy to see because what you can do is, for example, use. Let me check. No, first I'm going to use a merge as well directly. So we are going to rebuild the map, but without one channel. So we need the R, the G, the B we don't want it, so we are going to put a black color. So I type uniform. I'm going to put like as grayscale, and I put black color. And let's see, up. And I need also another uniform color for the alpha, but this time I'm going to put two white. So another cool thing that you can use is the peak. I pick that. I should have. It's not pure white, but I'm going to put it pure white. Yeah, they made a lot of cool changes for the new version. Oops, sorry. And it's really valuable because it saves you lots of time in your workflow, at least in my opinion. There may be few stuff where you have to get used to it, but after that it's really awesome. So okay, it seems to be right. I'm just going to check that there is nothing here, just to make sure. Intro is like that. Sorry. So right now, this map actually, the information it gives, I'm going to put it this way. You see, here actually it transfers the color on the UVs, but at the place they are supposed to be on the real 3D world. So basically this red point in the UVs means that this is the top point, top left point, this one. So you really have to see this map as a coordinate maps, and don't look at the color as color but as coordinates. Red is the x-axis and green is the y-axis. So right now what we want to do is to use this map to get these coordinates and to reproject correctly the whatever map you need. So in our case we're going to use a checker because it allows us to see really fastly what we want to do. I'm going to put a value of 3 for example, and as I told you, by default it doesn't work. It's broken. So that's where we are going to use the pixel processor. As I say, use it this way. What I could do as well is to say, okay, I select that and I have the pixel processor node here, and you see, just by clicking it add it because it was selected. I redo it if you want. If I select this and I click on it, it will connect directly. If I don't want it to be connected, I hold shift. This may change, but so far it works this way. So what we're going to do is first we want to plug our texture input, and second we want to put the UV coordinates map. We select this, we double click so we see the result, and we click edit to go inside. So this is a node that we don't want, the float front, the one by default. You delete it, and first what you are going to do is to use a get float 2. There is actually two nodes that are really important in my opinion. Is the get float 2 with this variable expose. You see also you have seen it maybe in the video, they have updated the graph for the function, and for me it's really awesome because you really see what you are doing. You don't have to look at to select the node and say, okay, what does it do? Right now it's really more self-explanatory. So there is this $pose variable, which is really important. Basically it refers to the coordinate of each pixels, because what the pixel processor nodes is really look at the pixel of the image, one pixel after the other, like that, and it applies whatever you want. So if you want to apply something for each pixels, you can use the S-pose. So basically it will look at, as I told you, each pixel one after the other. The second one, which is important and that we're going to use now, it's the sampler. Because basically, so for this one I will use the sampler color. Yeah. Basically what it says is, okay, I look at each pixel, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sample the corresponding pixel in the input that I choose. So here I want the input 1, which is our coordinate node. For example, if I put that as output node, it gives directly the UV coordinates that we want, because we just output each pixel one by one. But actually, as we say, we want this to be considered as coordinates to reproject the other input. So what we're going to do is to use a node called the swizzle. I think I can take the float 2 by default. No, I have to take. No, it should work. We're going to try. So swizzle float 2 allows you to split the channel one by one. So here it's perfect because I want the channel, the red one, which is X, and the Y one, which is green. And so basically, it's, right now we have new coordinates stored here. And what we want to do is that is to say, okay, for this coordinate, what we want to do is to sample in the texture input to get the color on the position which is defined here. So I select this and I do once again sampler, and I think it was a gray scale in our case. It could have been a color one in case it's a color. So if you have a color input, you won't put a sample gray, you would put a sample color. But in our case that, and the input is 0, so it's fine. So we get the position for x pixel, sorry. We grab the color pixel in the coordinate map. We convert this to an xy value, and from this xy value we take the new value. We grab the corresponding color in the input, the texture input. So I put this as output node, and that's it. So if I go back here, you see that right now, as we said before, it was like that. I'm just going to change the size of it to, because here it's high resolution, but this one actually I'm going to augment a bit like that. Okay, so I don't know why this one has such a bad resolution. Okay, because it's relative to parent, so parent of the grass. So I'm going to have to change something. Okay, let's put a good resolution. Okay, so it's 248 everywhere. And now, right now, as you see, bad UVs and bad result. And right now, bad UVs but good results. As you see, this is quite efficient, and it works as you have seen with different UV islands. If your UVs are distorted, it's okay, it works in any case. So that's it for this exercise. I hope it has been useful. As you can see here, it's just 4 nodes, so I think it really shows how powerful the pixel processor can be if well used. I summarize. We scan each pixel one by one. For each of these pixels, we sample the color in the UV coordinates that we obtain by baking the position map and taking the red and green axes. Then from that we generate a new vector xy, and finally with this new vector for each point we grab the color of the texture input to reproject it at the proper place. And that's it. So it has been fast. I think it could be useful. It's a really good way to start because It's at the same time easy and useful, so I hope you liked this video. If it's the case, don't hesitate to reshare it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to add them in the comment. I will answer. Generally, I answer really fastly, really quickly. Thanks again and have a great day.